everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, March 29th, 2026. Lily is back. Slowly, the things that she's been holding in front of herself are starting to decrease in size. Hallelujah! Yeah, we've gone from giant bags and giant floral arrangements to just a simple coat. A light spring coat. But then, in a dramatic twist, she dropped the coat and just walked around the room, showing off that post-baby body. Yes! Oh, what a relief! I loved the dress she came back in, too. She really is looking great. And apparently, she is going to now have to atone for her power-hungry power move. So, all right, big twist. Lily only agreed to this whole faux kidnapping because Victor promised her Chancellor. Wow, that really would have ticked Nikki off had they still been together. What would have been his excuse? What would have been his explanation to his wife about that move if they had stayed together? But honestly, what are the odds that Victor was ever going to give Chancellor to Lily in the first place? It's absurd that she would have trusted him once, let alone trusted him again after he burned her. But Victor has control of Chancellor now. And even though he promised it to Lily, he is refusing to hand it over to Lily because he says he needs to weaponize it first in order to get Newman Enterprises back. When he could have gotten Newman Enterprises back last week, included in that whole deal with Phyllis, but okay. There must be a separate plan for Phyllis. I can accept that. And I guess Lily is going to have to accept that. Plus, she's going to have to accept the fact that Kane will never forgive her for a couple weeks. Kane will never forgive her for what she's done for a couple weeks. Oh, he's mad. Early in the week, Nikki decided to blow Victor's plan right up, right in the middle of the athletic club. She told Kane that not only was Lily's kidnapping all a ruse, all part of Victor's plan to fool him, but also Lily was in on it. Yeah, that's right. Your precious little Lily was in on it. Have you ever seen a heart break in real time? Because that's what happened to Kane. He could not believe it. He was crushed, dashed. And then when Lily showed up in his office, his train, when Lily showed up on in his train office, unpleasant. She could barely get a word out before he walked out the door. But he did make sure to confirm that she had a chance to watch that 3-hour-long video that he made for her. I don't know if I should punch you or strangle you, you son of a bitch. Ooh! Ooh. I mean, that was easily the line of the week. I would ask you who said it, but I know you know who said it. These are really hard decisions for Jack, I am sure. Do I punch Victor? Do I strangle Victor? Let's make that our poll question for the week at what? No, I'm just kidding. Punch Victor or strangle Victor? Cast your vote at yrchat.com. No, I'm just kidding. Well. I mean, Jack ended up doing neither of those things. He went all the way out to the ranch to yell at Victor for about 60 seconds. And then he turned around and just walked right back out the door. He didn't even leave the foyer. I was like, wait a minute, why don't you stay a minute, Jack? This needs to last longer for me. Victor Newman, where are your manners? Offer this man a drink. Well, no, wait. That has backfired on Jack recently, taking drinks that he did not prepare himself. Jack would be wise to not trust any drink that's given to him for at least the next 6 months. Even if it's a trusted bartender, even if it's someone, even if it's Diane, no drinks accepted. It has not worked out well for him. Victor basically denied everything. He acted like he had no idea Jack was kidnapped. Like he had nothing to do with it at all, which is not surprising. But of course, I'm asking myself, well, I mean, was this really all Victor's idea? Was this all really Victor's plan? Because Patty also confronted Diane this week at the athletic club. And I think confronted is probably not the right word, because Patty more gloated. She was so happy to see Diane not living at home anymore. And she got right up in Diane's face, wearing that boobalicious red dress, and then she was just going on and on about how great the sex with Jack was. I'm sure it was. Patty was just pushing all of Diane's buttons, even the addiction buttons, which was interesting. But I thought, well, Patty was denying that there were any drugs, and maybe that's just because she was having fun twisting the knife on Diane. But it also makes me wonder how much of all of this was Patty's plan. Patty is erratic. Patty is chaotic, but she is not stupid. And I think she also is not naive. She surely would have learned her lesson by now about being Victor Newman's pawn, because this would not be the first time that Victor used Patty to enact a revenge plan on Jack. In fact, back in 2009, Victor paid for Patty to have plastic surgery to cause chaos in Jack's life, which led to Colleen's death, which led to Patty shooting Victor, which led to Tracy giving Victor Colleen's heart. And if you remember that emotional story from Y&R history, or if you want to, you have got to go check out my latest retro recap. Tracy gives Victor Colleen's heart. It is amazing. It's one of the most memorable stories in my in my own personal memory of watching the show, and a lot of it comes right down to Tracy and her heartbreaking choice. But you know, it's very connected to everything that's going on with Patty and Victor and Jack right now. It's at yrchat.com if you have some spare time this week, because it's an unforgettable story and it's not that different from what's going on today. Victor brings Patty back. Patty causes chaos. Patty gets sent back to the psych ward from which she came. That is the cycle. And Patty today would know that. So my question is, how much of this yacht scam was Victor's idea? And how much of it was Patty? What has happened with Jack has shaken Diane to her core, really. It's surprising how much, almost. She no longer trusts him at all. Not even a little bit. Not even enough to give him the benefit of the doubt on what he's saying, what he's trying to communicate. Not really even enough to sit down and talk with him and let him explain. Diane thinks that Jack was using drugs on purpose and that he slept with Patty of his own free will, or at least of his own consequence, of the consequences of his actions. Now, I can't say that I entirely blame her, because if I walked in on my husband in bed with his crazy ex, it would be incredibly hard to accept any answer that is coming out of his mouth. But in the wild world of soap operas, I would think Victor had me kidnapped and drugged might at least resonate a little. I feel like I would hear that at least, and hear Jack out and maybe process that and do a little research on my own. But that's just me. I'm not a soap character. Close, but not quite. Well, Diane leaving Jack and moving out, and Nikki, getting kicked out by Victor, has left Nikki and Jack plenty of time to sit around and have tea and sympathy at the Abbott Manch. How nice, how lovely. And Nikki is very sympathetic to Jack's situation. She feels responsible for it to some extent. And Jack told her on Friday that he is not planning on just letting Victor get away with this. He's going on the offensive. And Nikki said, you know what, I'm not going to stop you. In fact, Nikki and Jack are now officially working on a scheme together to teach Victor a lesson. But I hope that that lesson does not include them pretending to hook up. Maybe just to let Victor think that he drove her into Jack's arms. I mean, that would be juicy and dramatic and everything, but that might just send Diane over the edge. Look out, world. Y&R has a new vixen in town. It's Riza. And Riza's see-through chest dress. They have got business to attend to. And Riza did not waste any time. She showed right up in the jungle room, which, thinking about it, is really more of a safari room. So I'm going to adjust my statements from last week. Riza shows up in the safari room. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. She shows up in the safari room, points a gun at Adam, and then proceeds to give him, let's be real, a weak frisk. Now, I'm just saying, if I had a chance to frisk Adam, I would have got all up in there. All up in there. She kind of patted around half-heartedly, and I said to myself, what else you got? She lost me with the weak frisk. Not impressed. But then, you know, they talked for a while, and she kind of alluded to the fact that she stopped making money on gambling after Spider left her, and she started making money on something else profitable. And they talked a little more. She asked about Sharon. Adam told her that things didn't work out with Sharon, but that he is seeing a woman right now named Chelsea, and that they have a son together. And then Riza said, okay, yeah, that's nice. Kiss me, baby. Kiss me like you maybe did before, or maybe not. I'm not going to tell you if we ever hooked up in the past or not. I'll just let that rise to your memory on its own. Okay. Okay. How is he falling for this? I think Adam needs to establish some boundaries with this woman, and he needs to do it fast. You don't just get to go from frisk me to kiss me to critique my gambling skills and go ahead and just have it all your way. Forget it. She has got way too much control right now. Way too much power. You might say she holds all the cards. And he needs to get some of them back because he's got like 2 problems to deal with now. Because Nick just gave a bunch of money to a guy just to get hooked up with a guy who can hook him up with some drugs. That is complex. That is beyond my ability to comprehend. You have to pay to even get a chance to buy some drugs. What a job that would be. The yeah, I know a guy. I want to be him. Yeah, I know a guy. That'll be $1,000, please. Turn around, walk out of the hotel room, never see him again. Sweet deal. But in the previews, the actual drug dealer, shows up in the room with his drug briefcase, offering Nick the drugs that he wants, plus some new drugs he can buy. It's kind of like how when you order something online and it goes, well, if you like that, then you'll like this. It's an upsell. Even the drug dealers employ it. Well, if you like fentanyl, you'll love heroin. But this is such a trap, and Nick is playing right into it. Because if we are to believe that Riza is connected to some big-time drug lord, or possibly that Riza is some big-time drug lord, then we also have to believe that those little drug dealers are on the same payroll, reporting back, and all roads lead, ultimately, to Matt Clark. Wait, what? Tessa and Daniel are over now? Crap! I was just getting used to them. You can't do this to me, Y&R. I spent all this time fighting for Mariah and Tessa in my mind, and then I finally get used to Daniel and Tessa, and now it's over? This is a very clever trick on their part, because the fact that they told me it's over this week is what makes me now want Daniel and Tessa together even more. Telling me that I can't have something? Oh, well, that's the fastest way to get me to want it. I wonder if you guys want it too. I think that's our official poll question of the week. Should Tessa be with Mariah or Daniel? And those are the only two options, because let's be real, that's what the options are. Should Tessa be with Mariah or Daniel? You choose at yrchat.com this week. I mean, it seems like Tessa has already chosen. She's already made her choice. And of course, Tessa would choose Mariah. I mean, why on earth would she want to be playing music and having hot sex with Daniel when she could be having psychiatric facility visits with Mariah for the next who knows how many months? That is so Tessa. This is so Tessa, because that's not just love. You know, Daniel made it seem like it all comes down to, do you guys still love each other? Well, I mean, you can love each other and it can still not work out. You can love each other and it still functionally doesn't work. But it's not just about love. I mean, it's about commitment. Tessa is choosing to honor her commitment, her lifelong commitment to Mariah, rather than going with the thing that probably would be more pleasurable and more, I don't know, joyous, more joyful at this time in her life. And Daniel is the one that pushed for it. Daniel's kind of the one that got them back together, wouldn't you know? I have to say, I think all things considered, Daniel did the right thing. You know, he told Tessa, well, I think you have unresolved feelings. And he knew that. He knew that from talking to Tessa, from knowing Tessa, from being intimate with Tessa. He knew where Tessa's heart was. And then he also knew it this week from talking with Mariah. And so he told Tessa, you need to go and see Mariah and work on resolving it. You guys need to resolve the unresolved. And I really think that Daniel did that as much for himself as he did for her, because it would not have been fair for Daniel to be starting this brand new relationship with Tessa while she is still clearly carrying these feelings for someone else. I mean, ultimately, I feel like Daniel deserved that much. Daniel would have deserved a fresh start. I mean, everyone deserves that. I just cannot believe that after all this time, after all the begging that Tessa has done, practically lying herself at Mariah's feet for months now, and then suddenly, on the eve of Mariah's non-trial trial, she wants to give them another chance. Well, that figures. Do you guys remember the days when every single crime required a trial? Didn't matter if it was a parking ticket. Trial, full courtroom set, judge, jury, everyone seated. And then we transitioned to just the judge's chambers. And now we don't even get the judge's chambers. We just get told about the outcome of the legal case later at the coffee house. It's funny because, I mean, you could probably flash back to my videos 15 years ago, and I was constantly complaining about all the trials. I mean, I remember being so darn sick of all the trials, and now here I am all these years later, everything old is new again, wishing we could have a courtroom scene. But Mariah kidnapped a child. She kidnapped a child, and the judge was like, yeah, you messed up. You better go get some psych treatment. All right, fine. I can accept that. I don't need everybody to go to jail. But I do wonder what the heck are Abby and Devon gonna say about all this? They didn't get a chance to testify. They didn't get a chance to do a victim statement. It was just, okay, Fairview for a couple of weeks, and then you get your life back. Get your wife back, and your kid back, your own kid back. You know, I think that's kind of part of my disappointment about the Mariah and Tessa reunion. It's just that Mariah has given me so little reason to root for her lately. Because in reality, I would be like, oh yeah, you guys have a child together and a family. It is worth seeing if you can work this out. But we never see them as a family. We never see Aria anymore. Mostly all we see, what we've been seeing, is Mariah rejecting Tessa and Tessa finding finally some comfort in Daniel. And not only that, but there's the callousness with which Mariah kind of rejected and abandoned her own child to go kidnap someone else's kid. It's just, Mariah has done nothing but push everyone away. And the person who was fighting harder than anyone to get close to her was Tessa. And then there was this light at the end of the tunnel in Tessa's life. Daniel. And now that's just gone? I mean, I don't know. You know, going back and watching my videos, I was still rooting for Mariah and Tessa way longer than everyone else, way longer than I probably should have been. Even when she was like hooking up with Daniel for the first time, I was like, oh, I don't know it's hot and everything, but maybe you should try to just fight for your marriage, you know? I mean, even when it was light and fun and it was like, oh, ray of hope, I was still wanting her to try to save her marriage and saying that. But, I mean, that is gone for me now. Mariah and Tessa reuniting feels like a drag. And I am just not sure there is anything that Mariah can do now to convince me otherwise. The only thing that's going to make this okay for me is if Billy and Sally break up and then Sally hooks up with Daniel, because he's just too cute to be single. Never call me cute. That's this week's Who Said It quote. Never call me cute. And did you see the way I naturally just transitioned from Daniel being cute to this cute quote, and it just happened organically. That's the level of organic professionalism that we have here on Y&R Chat. Never call me cute. If you think you know who said it, or if you want to find out, you should go to yrchat.com. I loved that moment. How about this little moment from Russell, who says, I'm excited about Daniel backing off and letting Mariah and Tessa figure it out. It's a sweet and heartbreaking story twist. The Thursday montage of Daniel and Tessa's time together with Tessa singing over it was bittersweet. I know, right? It was like, and was that the song that they sang together too? Or was that one she wrote on her own? I don't know. The song was beautiful. The montage was beautiful. I felt so bad when he deleted all the photos of her from her phone. That is the modern version of like a breakup. You delete all the photos from your phone. That feels very modern, very right. Yeah, it was very sad and very heartbreaking, but I guess for me it had the effect of making me want them back together. It's almost like classic storytelling in that way. Like they're now to me star-crossed lovers, and Mariah is the obstacle. She was not as much of an obstacle before when she was off-screen and rejecting of Tessa. And that's the period where they grew close. And now Mariah is back, and it feels like she's between them. I can't wait to see the poll results, because I'm really wondering if you guys are rooting for the Mariah-Tessa reunion, or if you're like, no, to Daniel deleting those photos from his phone. Oh, guys. Hold on. Hold up. Record scratch. Sue W. says, I think Daniel and Tessa will be back together one way or another. Either her heart will miss him too much, or she'll be pregnant. Or both. Sorry, Mariah. I'm rooting for Tessa to eventually make a clean break, gut-wrenching as it will be for her, from you, and wind up forever with Daniel. Forever in soap terms, of course. Meaning a couple years. But Sue W., what's wrong with me that this did not occur to me? I'm so glad it occurred to you, because you're 100% right. Tessa is pregnant. She is so totally and completely pregnant right now. Duh, Allie. Oh, this is even better. Okay, I just got excited. She gets back together with Mariah, finds out she's pregnant with Daniel's child. That's so good. I feel like we have way more recently been predicting that and it not becoming true. It feels like there's always an affair, or people hook up, and then the girl's supposed to get pregnant, and we all scramble around saying, oh, she's pregnant now. And then it doesn't end up to be true, but I'm convinced, absolutely right here and now, Tessa is pregnant. Russell says, Christine looked like a spring goddess in her white jump and periwinkle jacket. I hoped that she would start handing out Easter eggs. Christine looked like a beautiful Easter basket this week. That is so true. And can I just say, Russell, thank you for bringing up the color and characterizing it as periwinkle. Because I just want to say, I love the color periwinkle. It's like, I don't know, it's just, I think it's stuck in my mind from my crayon box from youth. I love that color. And when I saw her, I thought, periwinkle! And then I kept looking at it and I go, well, no, maybe it's lavender. Lavender's a little more toward the pinkish. It's got a little more red in it. And periwinkle's more blue. But now that you've, it hints more to the blue side of purple. But now that you've mentioned periwinkle, I feel justified in my original thought on the color. And you're right, it was very springy, very Eastery. And also, can we appreciate the fact that Danny was signing autographs at the athletic club? I was dying. I love Danny. And when he was signing the autographs and the girls were all excited, and then as they were walking away, he goes, rock on! That was the greatest little mini micro moment of joy for me for the week. And that's what Danny represents for me. He's just pure joy. I love him, and that was a real blast. Oh, speaking of outfits, Brent says Holden is totally wearing a pajama top in Wednesday's episode. I am so distracted by it, I can't even hear the words he's saying. Brent, dang, you are so... we were all thinking it. That was pajamas. He looked like he was ready to go night-night. All he needed was a sleeping cap to go with it. T. Nicole says, I'm confused why Audra said the last time she was in love was with Noah. What about Nate? Oh, T. Nicole, you're right. I mean, Audra found acceptance and family and love and warmth for the first time in her life with Nate. But then the old flame the new old flame walks through the door and she's like, Nate, who? Yeah, that was just thrown right out the window. Tavi says, I'm super excited for Noah and Audra, and I'm waiting for her and Holden's murder secret to come out. Well, okay, I gotta pause there because will it? I don't know. It seems like if anybody was gonna pull it out, it would have been Claire, and Claire has pulled away from that completely. And now Holden's still trying to convince Audra to go through with the plan, but it just seems like Audra's not into it. And if she's now got eyes on Noah, is she really going to bother with Kyle at this point? I don't know. I just kind of feel like the murder secret thing has been dropped. It certainly hasn't been followed up on in any meaningful way. So I guess now the question is it going to be dropped entirely? And I think you're right. I'm very interested to see Audra setting her sights on Noah. That has upped my Noah interest level by several degrees. Tavi also says, I think it's going to be Noah, Audra, Kyle for a triangle. And Sienna is going to get killed by Nat at the end of this. Audra will probably help Noah pick up the pieces. You know what? That's a really good guess because Y&R brought Sienna back for a reason. And I could see that being a dramatic conclusion. And if Sienna does not end up dead, we're certainly getting foreshadowed that Audra is going to come between them somehow. I mean, we've seen Audra giving goo-goo eyes to Noah and Noah returning with his own goo-goo eyes and yet insisting he's in love. We've seen that like 2 or 3 times now, and it can't just be for no reason. And Tavi, we saw that scene at the bar a couple of weeks ago with Kyle and Audra and Noah. And that almost did seem to foreshadow the triangle that you've mentioned here. Tony says, wasn't Tessa with Noah originally? There should be a scene with Tessa and Noah together, at least to say hello now that they're in the same family. Yeah, you're right. I'm asking, did they not have a scene? No, Sienna had a scene with Tessa and Daniel, but you're right. Tessa definitely has connection to Noah, and it's not been seen. Mariah has connection to Noah. It's her brother, her half-brother, and we still haven't really seen her have much interaction with him. Noah's very busy fielding text messages from Matt these days. That's what's consuming all of his attention. Oh, Russell says, even the do not disturb sign and the room numbers on the door are in leopard print at the Safari Mirage Casino Resort and Game Butcher Hotel, Bar and Casino. Yeah, I loved that. It's clearly one of those theme rooms. Nick closes the door and the little do not disturb sign swings in leopard print and the leopard print around the room number on the door. I actually love it. I like that Y&R decided to give the room some personality. That makes it feel more Vegas, because they could have just gone with blank, boring, sophisticated, nice-looking hotel. But they decided to give us the cheesy Vegas factor, and that really steps it up a notch for me. The only thing is that blood splatter painting in the background. I mean, it is truly disturbing. But what about the bedroom? T. Nicole says, Allie, to answer your question from last week, Adam is on the bottom bunk and Nick is on the top bunk in their hotel. The bottom bunk feels more coffin-like, which suits the vampire in Adam. And the athleticism in Nick feels like he can just jump up and down from the top bunk. Nick's just zipping up the ladder, up and down, due to his athleticism. But Nick is also high right now, so I hope he doesn't fall off the top bunk. But T. Nicole, I love and appreciate that assessment, and I agree with it wholeheartedly, especially the coffin part. Adam is not going to be bothered to climb up to the top of a bunk bed. You're absolutely right. Diana says, I love the Las Vegas scenes this week where we see Nick at the casino and he and Adam in their hotel room. The set looks realistic with the full bar in the room and the huge window with the curtain to give the illusion that they're up on a high floor in the hotel, minus the blood painting on the wall. The scene with Adam and Riza was exciting. I don't remember her character looking so hot as she did. I love her outfit choice for going to visit Adam. Va-voom! I could see Adam's eyes wandering down to the cleavage area. I love her beautiful hair. I especially loved when she and Adam kissed. Chelsea would be livid and so jealous. This storyline is getting so juicy and exciting with Adam and her in the mix. I look forward to seeing where this is going. Ooh, I mean, that dress was a choice. That dress was a conscious choice. And Adam's unconscious choice was to let his eyes drift down. When Chelsea comes and catches wind of this or gets any inkling of Riza being in Adam's life, ooh, Chelsea, I'm a Newman now. Newman is going to go berserk. Victoria says, there's a real affection between Adam and Nick now. They have concerns for each other and are glad the other one is there. Through this closeness, Adam may be the one to call Nick on his dependence on drugs. While immersed in the gambling world as Spider, Adam could be familiar with addicts. Therefore, he would recognize the signs that Nick is exhibiting. Adam may be able to get through Nick's denials and justifications and help him get the help he needs. Yeah, I mean, it sure does seem like it, doesn't it? Adam was able to see Nick having a nightmare this week, and he's questioned him a couple different times when he's been acting strange. I mean, I think Adam's got a lot on his plate right now. He's focused on trying to help in a different way, but he might just end up being the person who helps just by stumbling into the knowledge that Nick is now struggling with a drug addiction. Naomi says, Chelsea and Billy squaring off is surprising to me. They really know how to hurt each other. Yeah, it was kind of out of the blue, though. It was sort of like, whoa, I mean, Chelsea has defended Billy so much. They seemed always to have an affection for one another, and she was really going at him pretty hard this week. I mean, I kind of feel like Y&R doesn't know exactly what to do with either of them. They don't quite know what to do with Chelsea. They don't quite know what to do with Billy. I mean, you gotta admit, Billy was like going all for, you know, Chancellor and seizing his dreams and revenge on Victor, and he was all in being bad Billy like 3 weeks ago. And then this week he's doing his redemption tour. I figured out that life's not really a blah blah. And now I'm like, okay, well, whiplash. And then Chelsea, who has been very like, let's all be friends, is now suddenly like, I'm a Newman now. Yeah, it's quite a flip. Steven says, Chelsea knew. She knew about the kidnapping. She knew about the threat to Jack's life. She knew about the ransom. She knew about Victor's victory lap after tricking Phyllis into paying it while Jack was already free. And then she sat across from Billy and demanded proof that Adam was involved. She won't make any excuses for Victor's kidnapping Jack, but Billy missed his moment. He missed Chelsea's admission of knowledge and guilt. When Chelsea says Billy has no proof Adam was involved, Billy's reply should have been brutal. I do, and you just confirmed your own involvement too. Billy still cares for Chelsea enough to not put her hypocrisy in its place. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like they're switching roles. Billy was practically sweating, practically foaming at the mouth 3 weeks ago, and now it's totally flipped. He's like, he definitely was handling her with kid gloves. He was definitely being kind, and she was really letting it rip. Victoria says if it wasn't clear before, Billy sees the world as win or lose. Billy was listening to Chelsea all the way. The Abbotts had won over the Newmans and gotten their revenge. I don't believe Jack sees his kidnapping and rescue as a win. He and Diane were devastated. The viewers have yet to see what the fallout is, but Billy still needs to mature and adjust his attitude before he can get the respect he seeks. You know, and I think that's really what it's about. That is what Billy wants. Billy wants respect, but has he earned it? Russell says, Billy and Sally bored me to death on Friday. They should have broken up and been at each other's throats or something. This mutual admiration and listing wonderful attributes is so dull. Am I jaded? Sure, but it's still boring. Yeah, I have to admit, I too am struggling with Billy and Sally, Russell. You know, I think Sally is good for Billy. She's good for him. He's deciding to spend some time with Jill. And in fact, she's going to go with him to London, and they're going to make a whole thing out of it. It's great that she's good for him, but good is boring, you know? I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe that's not always true, because admittedly, I really like Kyle and Claire, and I would love to see Kyle and Claire get back together, and a lot of viewers find them boring. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But speaking of Kyle, Kyle's black and white jacket this week, you guys. Kyle is such a preppy boy. He is the preppiest preppy boy I have ever seen in my life, and it is perfect. It's perfect. Michael Mealor is the perfect Kyle, the perfect son of Jack Abbott. Please, Y&R, please never get rid of him. Even though I don't have a chance to say it every week. I love him every week. I love him every time he's on my screen. I'm a big fan of Kyle still. Victoria says, it was torture to not see Jack and Diane on screen together this week. I can't wait for their inevitable fireworks. Diane is too intelligent to let Victor's sabotage break up her marriage. They need to work as a team to get one up on the mustache. Yeah, I mean, speaking of fast flips, the fact that Diane just, boom, she was just done and out. No listening to explanations. She gave him one chance on the spot while the emotions were at their highest, and then she was gone. She packed a bag and left. It's tough because I do empathize with her on the one hand, but on the other, it's like, yeah, you guys should be working together. And I asked you guys last week, should Diane leave Jack for good? 82% of you said no. The majority of people think no. Diane should not leave Jack. They need to be together. Marianne V says Jack got duped into being with Patty. He was drugged with Molly. He couldn't control himself. I understand why Diane left, but I think she should give Jack another chance. Unless he turns to Nikki. And that may be where this storyline is headed. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it might be. Or at least I think they could pretend to be together. Although I can't believe Jack would do that to Diane. He would at least need to let her know about it. But I don't think she would accept that one bit. Even if it was a ruse, I don't think she would go along with it. But Patty is right there, poking all of her sore spots. Russell says, next week, Patty has slithered her way into the Abbott mansion. Will Diane decide to come home right then? Yeah, Russell, you're right. And I like that you used the word slithered, because that is good. Patty is very snake-like in the way she has slithered around this situation so far. Snake-like and sleazy. She looks like she belongs in that Vegas hotel room. But I mean, dang, that red dress. She said, I just got off a boat. I've been drunk and kid held on the boat too, but whatever. She got her Jack. That is what she needed. She was absolutely glowing. She was all decked out in that red sexy dress. Man. And then next week in the previews, she's all up on Jack saying, oh, admit it, Jack, I rocked your world. The way she talks to him too, it's just like, wow. I mean, it's delusional, and it still rolls around in my brain as icky because he's so uncomfortable, and it just feels like, oh, it's so sexual assaulty. It's not just salty, it's sexual assaulty. Well, we'll see how it goes. Daisy says, I hope Victor does hand over Chancellor to Lily and Devon. Devon is Catherine's grandson, so he'll do right by her company. But also, once Victor finds out what Nikki put Jack up to, I don't think he'll have a problem fulfilling his promise. And as he'll likely feel betrayed by her, Victor may be resigned to separate from Nikki, if not divorce. How sad would that be? Nikki thinking Victor will learn a lesson is pretty ridiculous. She'll be the one who learns a lesson. Hopefully Jack won't do anything, though. I just feel like Nikki and Victor are separated for now, but the operative phrase is for now. I just don't see it lasting too much longer. Well, final comment this week comes from Connie, who says, happy 53rd anniversary. Oh, Y&R Chatters, March 26th, 1973 is the date that The Young and the Restless made its television debut. Connie, thank you so much for telling me that. You know what? I need to add that to my birthday birthday list. So I need to put that on my calendar so that every year when March 26th rolls around, I can say happy birthday to Y&R. Birthday shout out to Y&R. Okay, that's going on my to-do list. So I wonder how many of you guys saw The Young and the Restless premiere on that date, March 26th, 1973. If you saw Y&R on that date, airing live on your TV, I think you need to brag about it this week. Go to yrchat.com and let me know. I mean, that is a badge of honor. And that is a Y&R chat. Oh, my goodness. Y&R has been on for 53 years. Eric Braeden, I think, is 83. Gary mentioned this week that Eric Braeden has just been recovering from pneumonia. I guess he was like out of commission. It really, drags you down, especially at 83. He had pneumonia. Everyone in his family got sick and he wasn't able to work. And then I guess he went back in and filmed a bunch of scenes at once, even mentioning that they were scenes where he's arguing with Nikki. So that's interesting. Thank you, Gary, for letting me know that, because then I had to go and I watched his Instagram video about it because I was just so curious. And it was interesting to hear him also talking about the exercise routine that he still does. I mean, at 83 years old, he's still conscious about the types of exercises that he does to keep his bones strong. And he's also conscious about not jumping back into exercise too quickly after being sick or having an injury. I mean, that's something that you kind of end up learning through experience. But it was, he's an athlete in addition to being an actor. And so it was interesting to hear him talking about, his physical health too. We're still so lucky to have him. And I'm glad that he's still taking really good care of himself at age 83. I hope that all of you guys are out there taking good care of yourselves. Easter's coming up next Sunday. I hope that you guys have some beautiful plans for that. I'm pretty sure we still get a full week of Y&Rs. I think there's episodes on Friday. And if not, hey, you can always spend that extra time going to yrchat.com, checking out the comments there, the photos there. I want to say a special thank you to everyone who does contribute there. I mean, I was talking last week about how it is such an environment of positivity. I don't in any way want anybody to get the impression that you can't criticize the show there or anything like that. It's just that somehow the collection of people that come there to comment regularly, you just feel that there is an appreciation for the show. There's a love for the show. And so even the criticisms come through with a level of respect and love. And that's what I appreciate about that site. So thank you to everybody who contributes at yrchat.com. If you haven't been there, go and read those comments. Go say hi to those guys, because the people who are there regularly commenting on the show every day, they're as much a part of Y&R Chat as I am. I mean, the whole second half of this Y&R Chat is just reading those comments, and I just really appreciate those contributions there. Thank you so much. I hope you keep them coming, and I hope everybody comes on back next Sunday and we will chat about another crazy week in Genoa City. Oh, I love you guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.